Hey, good morning. Scott from the Ironmill Strength Studio. As a coach, one of the biggest challenges is walking the line between being supportive, encouraging, and also being a little bit of a hard ass and providing some accountability and a reality check now and then, and helping people stay on point. So nowhere is that more challenging than in the arena of nutrition, food, eating, all that shit. Workout is pretty straightforward, right? We know we need to do it. We need to work hard. We might need a coach or a trainer to push us through those last few reps to move the weight up a little bit, to actually show up at 6 o'clock in the morning when you don't feel like it. That's the accountability of a coach and a trainer. Get you there, make you work a little bit harder than you would on your own, make you do a few more reps, make you maybe do those exercises that you wouldn't do on your own, and provide you with the knowledge to make sure you're doing the right stuff and support you. Nutritionally, I feel like our job is to educate you guys and help you understand what you should be eating. Most of us know what we should not be eating, but I think there's not always a thorough understanding of how food affects strength training and its results, muscle building, fat loss, all of the above. I think there's a lot of confusion in the world about it's not as simple as calories in, calories out, quality of foods, type of foods, nutrient value, a lot of stuff. So it can be very overwhelming. But I do want to say this. So I think as much as I talk a lot about not being obsessed with the scale, not even getting on the scale, quite honestly, because we can't gauge muscle gain versus fat gain on the scale, and in my opinion, most methods of measuring body fat are not accurate enough to give us honest feedback. I just think we're better off without it, okay? But that said, a lot of people are really looking to lose body fat, get smaller, and remember, our number one goal is that on your personal 1 to 10 scale of how do I feel in my own skin, I want that number going up. Okay, if you're a 2, I want it to be a 10. If you're 8, I want it to be a 10. But we want to move that number in the right direction, regardless of what the scale says. So keeping that in mind, for most people, no, I shouldn't say most. For a lot of people, moving that number up involves some degree of, kind of cosmetic change to their body, whether that is getting stronger, getting smaller, getting bigger for some people. Some kind of cosmetic change affects that number. Let's be quite honest here. So to enable that change, right, if it's a client that wants to drop a size or 2 in order to feel better about the way they look, to feel better about going out in public, to better about going on social events, to better about being with their partner, everything involved with that, we have to address food. So I've talked to a few people who have said to me, everything's going great, I feel strong, I feel good, I'm getting smaller, not as much as I want yet, but I'm happy, but I would like to see more, from a fat loss standpoint, whatever. So I'll talk and ask about their food, and their response will be, no, my diet's on point, and my diet's good, my diet's on point, my food's good. So my tough love challenge to that would be, if you're not losing and you're not getting noticeably leaner, and it's been a few weeks or a few months, your diet's not on point, right? It's not on point. It might be good, it might be fine. It's not on point for what we are trying to accomplish, which is to lose fat and get smaller or whatever. So it's not on point. So make sure that if you're not seeing what we expect you to be seeing or what you think you should be seeing, we have to take a closer look at that. Now, again, we're trying to walk this line of not becoming obsessive about it, right? Not creating craziness, and it's not necessary to track everything you eat in MyFitnessPal forever, but it may be necessary to do that for a little bit in the beginning, just as a tool to learn how much what you're putting in your body, right? We need feedback to be able to make decisions on how to improve that. So I'll give you one example on this. Great client recently reached out to me a few weeks ago and was having trouble because she had been doing really good for a while, and then something happened and she felt like she was off track, and she had been putting weight on around her midsection and not losing and not seeing as much muscle tone, and just kind of backsliding a little bit. So we talked about whether that was hormonal change that she was going through, maybe it was stress related, her workouts are definitely on point. I can vouch for that. She said that her food was on point. She was, counting her calories and everything was good. So we were really confused at what happened. And it wasn't until a few weeks later she had a conversation with John and took a look and recognized that her protein, which off the top of my head, I'm thinking she needs to be about 110 grams a day, was at like 50, okay? Well, that's a big problem when it comes to trying to put on muscle and burn fat. So even though she was eating well and her calories were where she wanted to be, she wasn't taking enough protein, she wasn't able to build muscle because of the demands of the strength training program she's on. Her body was just breaking itself down to repair the body from the workouts. So she was kind of just chasing her tail, going around in circles, starting to put some body fat back on. So simply by adjusting what we call the macros, and that's protein, carbohydrates, fat, by adjusting her protein up, her carbohydrates and fat down or whatever, so she could still stay around the calorie goal, but more importantly, knowing what she was doing or not doing made a huge difference. And within days, she was texting me, telling me she's feeling better. Her muscles are starting to show again. She's leaning out again. Her stomach feels smaller. She's just mentally so much better. So her personal scale, 1 to 10, had started sliding back, right? She's getting discouraged. She's feeling bad about herself and the progress she's making. And now once we adjust that protein, all of a sudden that personal scale is going back up because she's feeling better. She's feeling more energy, seeing positive results in her body. So I hope that makes sense, but I just really want you guys to understand the importance of nutrition in your program. So just by tracking it, we were able to identify what was going wrong and then make the necessary improvements. So if you're not seeing the results that you had hoped or would like to see, let's take a close look at what you're doing. Keep track of stuff for a while so you can have an honest look at what you're doing. If you're not tracking, I'm not saying you have to track all the time, but if you're not tracking at all, you have no idea what you're putting in your body and there's no way to make adjustments. All right? Have a good day.